Hello? Okay, I think we're still having technical difficulties, but if I watch I can watch on Twitch and go ahead and continue to commentate while we work on the Discord issues. Anybody on Twitch, can you guys hear me? Okay, so yeah, I guess you can hear me. I'll go ahead and commentate using Twitch. Excellent. So, sorry for the technical difficulties. We have the third race of the evening from CaptoftheDorks versus LukeyPookieG, two seasoned runners who certainly know what they're doing. They've already made the most important decision of their race, which includes selecting their party. And if you noticed, they do, I believe, have slightly different parties. They both have two black mages and a monk. And then I believe CaptoftheDorks selected a second monk in lieu of the typical fighter in that situation, which is going to be interesting to see how he plays that strategy. But we'll see what he does. So, again, welcome to the stream. should be a good evening. And I think they both seem to have gotten through the first boss of the game pretty easily. So the first piece of this game is pretty much a sprint. They race from the initial town up to the temple to save the princess from Garland as quickly as they can. They need to get through this part to get across this bridge that they've just crossed. So now that they have saved the princess and the king shows his appreciation by building a bridge for you, Captain of the Dorks is the first one to cross over it, heading towards Provoca. We need a better mode of transportation to traverse the rest of this game. There are parties. There was a question in chat about people using red mages. Some people do use red mages. There was, I think, an older strategy where red mages were paired with fighters as well. But as the strategies have honed themselves to become more and more efficient, they've opted for the fighter, monk, and 2 black belt party. So this part of the game here is all about getting some experience and getting some gold. So you see Captain getting a fight with an ogre, which is one of the best things you can run into right now. While they hit hard, they provide a ton of money and a ton of experience, and those are 2 things you absolutely need coming up. You'll have, he gets another couple of ogres, so he is swimming in cash. Even though he took a death on his mage, he'll have the money to revive him here in town. Lost 2 mages. Again, still able to overcome this with the amount of gold he's going to have. 3 deaths. Now it's getting dicey. So he's going to have to go and revive those guys. With all that money he just picked up, it does cost money to revive your characters. You have to take them to a clinic or later in the game when you do have the items like Phoenix Downs. You should have the option at that point to revive using items. That is something that the original NES game did not offer, but this version of the game does offer. So in this town, you see them running to the black magic shop to buy a couple of temper spells, something to enhance the attack power of their monks and their fighters, which they will use later in the game. One of the things they want to reach and accomplish by the time they get here for this pirate fight is to reach level 4. Being level 4 gives you the strength and other attributes to help you expedite this fight and allow you to make sure you can one-hit each of these pirates with each character. And that will make this fight go just a little bit faster. So they're both just about neck and neck. They're working through this band of pirates, and once they get through this band of pirates without hopefully losing anybody, they will obtain a ship from the master pirate here. He no longer has a crew to man the ship, so it's yours. So now that they have expelled some of their spell charges, they will go and recharge them here at the inn. In this game, chat, it is Phoenix with a PH because they have all the letters they want. So when I keep saying spell charges, what I mean by that is the game in this game, there's not the typical MP points that you typically see in a Final Fantasy game, where you can cast a certain spell unlimited until you run out of magic points. In this game, there's a tier system, and there are 8 tiers of magic, and you only get a certain number of casts or charges of those spells. The only way to recharge those is by staying at an inn, using a tent in the open world, using a cottage in the open world, or using an ether. As we go along, we'll talk about how those different items affect your spell charges. So there's a couple different strategies. Now that they have obtained the ship, there's a couple places they can go. If they're going a little bit risky, they can try to zoom down straight to Elfheim, If they are going to take it safe, they will stop back in Cornelia and use the inn. So we'll see what they do. Again, right now they're just trying to gather as much gold and as much experience as they can as quickly as possible, because once they reach Elfheim, there's a couple more spells and items they need to purchase for their first big adventure. And what you don't want to see is a death like Captain just had. So he is going to go back to the first town, where it is the cheapest place to revive your characters. And over on Lukey's side, he lucks out and gets himself an outstanding battle. 5 Buccaneers is the thing you absolutely want to see. They provide an immense amount of gold at this point in the game. And again, right now you're just trying to get as much gold as possible, and this is the way to do it. So Captain has revived his monk, and he is going to head down to Elfheim, where he is going to hopefully have enough money to buy a second, the advanced AoE version of the Thunder Spell. They picked up the Thunder Spell in the first town, and down in Elfheim they want to pick up the AoE version, which is Thundara. It is a level 3 or a 3rd tier spell. Lukey also has a pretty good battle on his side. The sharks are dangerous. However, they will provide you with a decent amount of gold and experience. On Captain's side, he gets 9 of those Sahagins. Those are not exactly what you want to see. You never, at this stage of the game, want to see that many enemies on the screen, just because, one, it takes a long time for them to each attack your party, and then of course they are attacking your party, so you take a good bit of hit point damage while fighting them. But he seems to be cruising through this battle, which is good, and hasn't taken a ton of hits, so good on Captain. So Lukey appears to be the first one to make it to town. Let's see how much money he has. He did hit those Buccaneers, so he should have the gold. It costs about 100 gil to stay at the inn. You definitely want to recharge your magic and your health. And then the next thing he's going to want to do is stop over at the magic shop to buy that Thundara we were talking about. Depending on how much money he has, 1,800. So that means he's got another 877 gil to go buy items, which in a typical speedrun is plenty. Let's see what he buys. He opts for a tent, a handful of antidotes, and some potions, about 11 of them. That is ideal. It allows you to stay at a tent before entering the Marsh Cave, which again I said is the first big adventure. The things you're concerned about are getting poisoned, and just making sure you have enough HP to get in and out of that cave. Captain seems to be ready as well to buy some items and head out towards the Marsh Cave. Aha! We have comedians in chat. I love it. So there's a couple different things you can do on your journey to the Marsh Cave. Again, the Marsh Cave is that first big adventure you're going to have. Ideally, you have enough levels and experience that you can run from most of these enemies. Most of them are not going to be beneficial, like these Wargwolves. But prove me wrong, Lukey. He's going to go ahead and fight him, I think, because he had the preempt and he has the Thundara charges stored. He's going to go ahead and use the tent, so it doesn't matter that he used up that Thundara charge. And the tent, I was telling you about those spell charges. The tent is one of those items that can recharge them. Just like the cottage and the ethers, the tent will refill your health and give you a handful of spell charges at every level. I think Captain of the Dorks is doing something similar to take a battle before going into the Marsh Cave. Not a battle he wanted. So the Marsh Cave. The Marsh Cave has a mixture of dangerous and easy enemies, most of which you want to run from anyways. You want to conserve your spell charges that we were talking about for the mini-boss at the end of this cave. The wizards guard a crown which you're trying to obtain, to go give back to Astos, who is a bad guy, but you technically don't know that yet. Captain, the other danger in this cave, you're looking at both of them. Lukey's got the scorpions, which are incredibly strong and can knock out your characters, and then Captain got poisoned. Again, one of the ideal or the essential items that the characters picked up on their way to the marsh cave was antidotes. Many of these enemies in the cave can poison you, and poison is not just something that hurts you in battle. Poison then will hurt you with every step you take in the map. So it's something you definitely want to remove from your status ailments, and with the limited number that you can purchase and bring with you, you want to ration them closely, or carefully. So they're both on floor 3. A couple of essential pickups here. They can get a cottage, an extra potion, and a Phoenix down, the first Phoenix down of the game. Before running into these Pisco demons, these wizards. They hit very hard, and as you can see, they are absolutely ravaging Captain's party. So what he's going to do is cast his Thundara the best he can, and see if he can't get through this battle. Lukey is about to enter his battle as well. Ideally, what you want to see here is a preemptive attack. Looks like Captain got through it, but he only has one mage left. Is he gonna continue? He is not. So one of the things that the runners do before any big battle, or just occasionally when they feel like it, is do a quick save. The game allows you to quick save at any point you want. You could reset or die, and you'll return right to that quick save location. So you'll see these guys quick saving before every big battle. We'll see what Lukey does on his side. He survived that battle with one monk and one black mage left alive. He still has that Phoenix down, so he can revive a character. And that's what he has chosen to do. So he is going to go ahead and proceed with a dead fighter, which is sometimes a strategy. Some people like to go that route because when your fighter is dead, or let's talk about experience points. When you get experience points for a battle, it's distributed amongst the live characters. So if you have a dead fighter, it is now distributed amongst 3 characters. So you should expect that your 3 living characters will gain EXP at a faster rate. Captain is absolutely taking a beating. Another wizard battle, Pisco Demon battle that is ending with a single black mage. That's why sometimes it helps to have that fighter in your party. He can tank a few extra hits because he is wearing armor, unlike the monk who runs around with his fists and no armor for the majority or the entirety of the game up until the end. So looks like Captain got the crown. He'll do a quick save so he never has to do that again. And he will join Lukey on the exit to this cave. Looks like everybody survived. Excellent. Not very far behind. So, what did they get from that set of Pisco Demons? They got that crown. That crown they are going to take all the way up to Astos, who is going to fight them. And what they're going to receive from him is another item, which is a... I want to say crystal ball. They have renamed it in the Pixel Remaster. As you know, this is a NES game that has been re-released in the Pixel Remaster format, and they have updated some of the names of the items to include the crystal ball that helps the witch Matoya see. So they are on their way, being very selective in their battles, or in Captain's case, just trying to get out of the cave. Scorpions is not what you want to see. They hit hard and they poison. So Lukey, the first one to get to Astos, he is going to quick save and be ready for this battle. There's a couple ways you can approach this battle. You can try to cast magic on him. using your Thundara and your Thunder spells, and the alternative is to buff your Monk, so you can buff him with those temper spells that they bought back in Provoca. Those temper spells, again, will make him hit harder. So he's opting for the temper strat. Not a terrible idea. Let's see how nice Astos is. Astos does have the capacity to use some AoE magic, but he does not, and it looks like Lukey gets a one-shot Astos, which is excellent. And he retained all of his characters, so he's in pretty good shape. He has the Crystal Eye, which he is going to return back to Matoya. Excellent. Captain of the Dorks has just gotten out of the Marsh Cave, and he is running up to catch up. He will fight Astos. Hopefully he gets just as friendly an Astos as Lukey did. And now Lukey is beginning what I like to call the fetch quest portion of this game. So the Crystal Eye is obtained. He's got to go take that up to Matoya. Matoya will give him a Jolt Tonic. The Jolt Tonic is what he needs to wake the Sleeping Elf Prince. The Sleeping Elf Prince will reward him with a Mystic Key, and that Mystic Key opens up a number of doors with treasures that will help him progress to the next part of the game. So that is the next adventure you're going to see LukeyPookieG doing, going around completing those fetch quests. Now Captain's approaching Astos. Let's see how this goes for him. We are hoping that he steers clear of all of his AoE attacks. He has the capability to cast Fyra, Thundara, Death, even instant death. He can cast Haste on himself, which makes him a stronger fighter. He casts Dark, which can cause your characters to miss when they swing. So as long as he's not casting things that hurt, we're going to call that a good day. A couple more swings, and I think Captain's going to get it. So Lukey heading up to Matoya's cave, taking a lot of battles. Now these 9 party Sahagins are not an issue anymore. He's got an AoE Thunder spell. He also picked up a second one for his second Black Mage, which will make his party a bit more lethal. So again, he's still in the process of looking for as much money and as much experience as possible. Every portion of this game is about getting just enough gold to buy the next thing you need, and also getting just enough experience to beat the next boss you're going to fight. So they do that by being very selective on all the battles they're taking. You see some of them fleeing from some battles, fighting others, and all of that is strategic. At the beginning of every battle, they have a split second to decide whether or not they are going to fight this battle or they're going to run from it. And that's what separates the good runners from the great runners. They know exactly what to fight, what not to fight, and how to deal with the RNG. Oh, Gil. Apologize, chat. It's called Gil in this version. You're going to hear me throughout the entire evening refer to the things that I know in the NES version of this game. They did update some of the spell names, and some of the extra items, some of the characters, and obviously the word Gil. The Gil was gold back in the day. Okay, so Pookie has exchanged that Crystal Eye for the Jolt Tonic, and he's going to head down to Elfland. And we'll see if he employs any additional strategy here. There's a riskier strategy where you can spend some of that extra hard-earned gold on a haste spell. If you have the money to do it, and you're capable of doing it now, it'll save you close to about 50 seconds from flying back at a later point in the game. So we'll see what Lukey does. So in addition to trying to buy that haste spell, if he does, we'll see if he does, there are a number of items he has to purchase, because the next big adventure, once he gets past this fetch quest, is going to be heading west into the Earth Cave. And you want to make sure that you are stocked on healing items, and ether potions, and phoenix downs, gold needles, and tents. Oh my. You want to have a quantity of them, because there is no item shop anywhere near the Earth Cave. So you have to stock up now before you leave. As Captain of the Dorks begins his conversation with Toya, he gets himself the Jolt Tonic so he can go wake the Prince, which is what Lukey is doing right now. He's going to receive a magic key, a mystic key, for his reward, and that mystic key opens up a number of different rooms with treasures that you can obtain all kinds of items that you need, most of which, as a speedrunner, they are going to sell them for gold. What a nice gift they give you, just to be pawned off at the nearest armor shop. So you can see Lukey going around back behind the castle. Here's the first set of treasures, all of which are money or items he's going to sell. There are Mystic Key items also back in Astos' castle, which is not time-worthy to travel back there to get those treasures, because again, you would only sell them. There's also a couple of treasures in the Marsh Cave, which are not worth going back, given the time it would take to get in there. One of the other places that he is heading now, which is worthwhile and absolutely necessary, is the treasure trove inside of the castle. So he's going to loot that castle for a couple of items and a key item, the TNT, the dynamite, which is something that the dwarves will be able to put to use very, very soon. All right, Lukey jumping into those chests now, getting a number of items. And there it is, the nitro powder, as they call it in this game. It is going to be used to blow a hole into a canal to allow you to explore the rest of the world. Right now, this world map confines you to this lake area, and it is surrounded by land. You are unable to get to the rest of the world in the world map, but now that he has that nitro powder, the dwarves will be employed to blow up a canal. So this is that moment I was telling you guys about. Lukey is selling off everything he has that is extra, and he's got himself about 7,800 to buy ethers, to buy potions, to buy phoenix downs, and a couple of gold needles. That we will get to once we get to the Earth Cave, but the gold needle is something that will allow you to unpetrify a character. Petrification is a very big part of the speedrun, because there is a, I'm not going to call it a quirk, but in the code, they made it so that if your character is petrified, he still can gain experience points. Not only can he gain experience points while petrified, he can also take hits from enemies without dying. So an enemy can swing, hit a petrified character, and it will do 0 damage to them because they're petrified, which is useful in its own sense. Essentially, they are a hit sponge with infinite HP. So what these characters are likely to do is to get these characters petrified and use them as a human shield of sorts, and just allow the enemies to pummel them, hopefully as much as possible, which will save the HP of their mages. And that is something we'll see them do in the Earth Cave when they get there. Right now, Lukey is heading into the Dwarf Cave, where he is going to steal all of their gold and items. I'm not sure, at some point, do we all have to kind of self-reflect during this game and wonder if we're the baddies here? Just stealing everybody's treasure? I mean, the Matoya was a blind witch. You guys stole from a blind woman. I don't know if we could support that kind of activity. So yeah, chat mentions one interesting item. Yeah, so in addition to the petrified characters taking damage, or not taking damage, they can take hits without sustaining any damage. The other thing they will do is put those characters at the top of the party. So the characters at the top of the party, so if you look at Captain of the Dork screen, he has his monks at the top. They are more likely to be hit. If the enemy is going to swing at them, they are most likely to swing at that first character. Down at the bottom there, the mage at the very bottom only has a 12.5% chance of getting hit. So ideally you want to put your human shields, your petrified characters at the top of your party to accept as many of those swings as possible. I always steal after I give Matoya's sight back. I feel like that's fair. All right, so Lukey has employed the dwarf to blow a hole into that canal, or into a canal, and Captain is now doing that. So not far behind, they've both done their item shopping, and they are going to head west through the new canal towards the town of Melmond. Melmond is a very sad town that has been destroyed, and they lack a lot of the town amenities. So while they do have a magic shop and they have weapons and armor, they do not have an item shop nor a place to revive a character. So if you need to revive a character and you run out of Phoenix Downs, you have a long road back to a town to obtain those. So the first thing Lukey's going to do when he gets into Melmond is he is going to sell that stuff that he just stole from the dwarves. Again, Operation Pawn Shop is the name of the game. He is going to take their treasure, he's going to sell it for a large sum of money, and he is going to use that large sum of money to purchase a couple of Fyraga spells. That is the next level of spells. I know we had Thundara before. Fyraga is the one of the next levels up after the haste spell. And those Fyraga charges are going to be absolutely necessary to get through the Earth Cave. Another option that you have in Melmond, should you have an excess wealth, are a couple of silver armlets. That is an armor that can be used by the mages to help them with things. To help them with things like this, taking hits, absorbing damage, hopefully saving you some HP in the long run. If he doesn't purchase them now, he'll just have to purchase them later. So Lukey goes straight into the Earth Cave. The Earth Cave is a very interesting cave. It is the only one in the game that we have to go in twice. So the first jump into the Earth Cave, Lukey is going to fight his way through to find the vampire. The vampire is guarding a ruby, and the ruby is what is used to get you to Sarda, who will give you the rod to get further into the Earth Cave. Right now, Captain of the Dorks is fighting some lesser tigers. They do have a small % chance to drop an X potion. It is a potion that allows you to revive full health, something that is essential in the end game. And should you get lucky and get a couple of drops of those here early in the game, you can skip going and finding them later in the game. Again, another time save. So Lukey is selling all those nice items he stole from the dwarves, and he is going to go get himself a couple of Firaga spells. Lukey is already into floor 2, where he is going to cast a lot of AoE spells. That is the name of the game from here on out, is the Black Mages casting their Aura spells, Thundara, Firaga that they have. Some runners opt to get Fyra as well, which is helpful in the Earth Cave against the undead. But in this case, it looks like they are just going as quickly as possible. So Lukey is about to enter the 3rd floor of the Earth Cave. The 3rd floor is where we try to get petrified. There is a enemy called a cockatrice. It is a bird. It is affectionately called by the speedrunner community as jerkbirds. The jerkbirds, when they hit you, have a chance to petrify you. And they don't always petrify the person you want, which is why we carry a couple of those gold needles that we purchased in town, just in case we have to unpetrify one of our mages. We have lots of comedians in chat. Appreciate that fake fact, Taco. Right, so this is the floor we are looking on Lukey's screen, trying to see if he is going to come across those jerk birds. And whenever he does, see how quickly he can get his characters to be petrified. One of the interesting things that he hasn't done yet is he hasn't revived his knight or his fighter. That is something that is typically done because you want that fighter to be petrified. We may be looking at a new strategy here, who knows? And Captain very early gets the jerkbirds, and they are swinging. Let's see how long it takes for him to get petrified. There's one. Come on. Get the second one. And one runs. That's no good. And he's petrified a black mage. That's no good. Excellent. So now he has more than what he needs petrified. He will unpetrify his black mage and continue on. Of course, quick saving to make sure he doesn't lose that. LukeyPookieG has made it through this floor to the vampire with everybody alive and awake. And the vampire, again, is the mini-boss of this dungeon, which needs to be extinguished with 2 quick Firaga spells, and then he'll move on to getting the Star Ruby. Excellent. And pretty good time, too. If Lukey is planning to get his characters petrified, this trip back on this floor is the place to do it, potentially. There are a couple other places outside of the Earth Cave you can get your character petrified later in the game, to include the Ice Cave, and then also way later in the Waterfall. But we'll see what he's going with here. But the typical strats you tend to see are what Captain is doing. He's got 2 human shields, and the mages are just going to cast away. Oh, he did pick up Fyra for the undead. So Captain spent a little extra money to get those Fyra spells, and we'll see those paying off soon. And it looks like Lukey also picked up Fyra. I must have missed that while they were in Elfheim. So one of the goals, of course, at all times, is to get yourself more gil and to get more experience. Specifically at this point in the game, you want to get your character to, or all your characters, at least your black mages, to level 15. Level 15 is the magic number at which your black mages have 3 charges of Firaga. and that is what they're going to want to use to defeat the boss of the Earth Cave. His name is Lich. He tends to be a significant pain, but if you can get 6 of your Firagas casted, you're just about there, depending on how good your damage rolls go. So it looks like Lukey did run into a set of jerkbirds, and he chose to petrify his monk. Okay, and he is going to keep that fighter dead. So we'll see if he's planning to petrify him later, or if we're just going to run 3 party members the whole way. Very risky, very bold, but that's what you got to do sometimes. Alright, so now that they've both defeated the vampire, they are in a mad dash to get out of this cave. You have to exit the way you came in, and then re-enter later and charge this exact same path through the cave. In addition to the management of their gold, and the management of their experience points, and the management of their items. They have to be very aware of how many items they have left in their inventory. Every time they need to heal, they have a set number of potions that they have left in their inventory. They do not want to run out. The closest item shop is well back in the beginning of the game, so it's a long walk back to, or a long boat ride back to that city. So they don't want to overuse those. They'll start using they'll start using tents once they get out of the cave, I'm sure. There goes one. And the other thing they want to manage are those ether potions. Those ether casts that they have, that they purchased, will recharge 1 of each tier of spell. What they'll want to do is use only when needed, try to expend as many of their spell charges as they can, which more efficiently uses their ether potions. The other thing we're going to be looking out for as we progress through the game are the HP totals. So as a character levels up, their stats go up to include their hit points. There are set levels at which your character gains significant HP boosts, but then there's also a random RNG chance that your characters get one in between those. So you'll see that not everybody has the same amount of HP, not even their 2 black mages. It's just RNG on who gets lucky. So you're looking to hopefully get lucky as many times as possible and get yourself as much HP as you can. Looking at Lich, the boss of the Earth Cave, to survive at least one of his spell casts, you definitely want to get up to at least 130 or 140 hit points. Anything under that runs the risk of dying as soon as he casts a spell. Lukey has handed that Star Ruby to the Titan. The Titan has gone out of his way to go have a snack. That snack being the Star Ruby. And now Lukey is on his way to see Sarda, who has the rod which breaks the slab that allows him to get deeper into the Earth Cave. It is a small fetch quest within the dungeon. And Captain is right on his heels, going to talk to Sarda himself. Again, looking out for those lesser tigers. Anytime those lesser tigers can drop an X potion, it's huge. Because they're later in the game, you have to do a little bit of a quest to find additional X potions and elixirs, which you'll definitely want to stock up on, because the final boss Chaos is an RNG monster, and you want as many full heals as you can possibly gather. Speaking of RNG, this game is RNG heavy. Everything from stats to encounters, to the bosses and what they cast. You just try to get lucky sometimes, and luck can be a strat. Let's see, looking at Lukey's side, oh yeah, his Black Mage 2 has 220 health. That is a happy Black Mage. Over on Captain's side, he's got one at 180. That is not too shabby whatsoever. Again, his Black Mage 1 is at 135, which is comfortable at this stage in the game. By the end of the game, you at least want to have your Black Mages at 250 health. Would be nice to have, and Lukey is almost there before getting to the Earth Cave, which is amazing. And you want your monk, your powerhouse monk, to be at least around 350. He will get some HP boosts from some temporary items that we'll talk about and we'll get later, but 350 is his magic number, so we'll see him get there. He is going to attempt up before jumping back into the Earth Cave. He is going to dive all the way to the bottom floor. There are 5 floors. Remember, we got to 3 last time. And the key to item management is to make sure you save at least 6 ethers, 3 for each Black Mage. Because remember, you want to have 3 casts of Firaga, which is what the Lich is going to be taken down by. Alright, so before we get to Lich, a couple things about Lich. He has 1200 HP. That's why we need to cast Firaga 6 times to knock him out. He's got a 23% chance to attack somebody. He tends to hit hard depending on who he's hitting. He's got a 10% chance to cast Fyra, Blizzara, or Thundara. Those are the things we do not want to see. He can also haste himself and cast Sleep on the party. And Slow. Slow is not too bad. Doesn't really affect your monk or your Black Mages. It's just trying to avoid the damage from those spells. Looks like these guys just finished a couple of really good battles. Those Hill Gyguses are what they call the Giants now. Those give pretty good experience and gold. And we've got the Ogre Chiefs. It used to be called the Green Ogres. Seems to be aptly named. And we have another appearance by those Pisco Demons, those things that were so annoying at the beginning of the game. They are back as regular enemies. Something this game does a couple of times, where they bring back enemies or bosses, mini-bosses as regular enemies later in the game. Alright, and we are close. They are both on the same floor, being selective about their battles, trying to make sure they get to level 15 before fighting Lich. And it looks like Lukey is going to get through this floor, and he is not going to revive his fighter for petrification. So let's see what he does with that, if he keeps that strategy throughout the game, or if he chooses later to revive him and get him stoned at one of those few other locales that have enemies that will do that for him. Alright, Buki on floor number 4. We'll have a few tougher enemies, or groups of enemies on this floor. Nothing catastrophic at this point. I think he'll be alright getting to Lich. Not sure if it was intentional, but he also casted Fyra with one Black Mage and Flee with the other. It's one of those things where, hey, if I can get out of here, I'll get out of here. Otherwise, let's see if we can kill these guys. That is the danger of some of these battles, is you don't always get the opportunity to run. Sometimes you can fail your run attempt, something that is something you just hate to see, to be honest, because when you're wanting to run, you want to get out of there. You don't want to fight that battle, and so when your flee attempt fails, your enemy gets another chance to attack you. And sometimes, and it can happen at any given time, so you may get a preemptive strike in the battle, and you can still fail that flee attempt. You get a preempt on a set of hill Gyguses that is hard to pass up. A couple of Firagas should take those guys out. Again, Lukey trying to balance his use of ethers and potions. But I'm pretty sure he's at level 15, so he should be just fine. Just around this corner, we're going to see Lich, and we're going to hope that Lich is nice. Lich, like I said, has a number of spells that he can cast, which is going to hurt the party. Although, we did say that he has a beefy Black Mage, so that Black Mage may be able to survive a little bit longer than the other. Do a quick save and jump right into the battle. All right, casting Firaga. Let's go ahead and count how many times he can get this through. All right, does not have a very strong hit, so the Black Mage survives. I think that was the third cast. Slow does not matter. We have a nice Lich so far. Keep it up. And the damage rolls are a little low on his Firaga spells, so he's gonna have to follow this up with probably one Fyra or a Thunder, and this should take care of Lich. That does it. GG's. Nice. So that is the first of the 4 major fiends that he will have to fight. He will light that crystal, and Captain is going to start his battle with Lich. And Lukey is going to get an instant warp out of the Earth Cave, and he's going to head back to Melmond. Let's see how Captain does. He's employing the same strategy of double Firaga. He gets hit with a spell. Not good. He's not going to be able to survive one more of those. But he's getting great damage rolls out of the first Black Mage. It is likely that he has... Oh, no. Well, that happens with Lich sometimes. Sometimes he does that. But we'll jump back in again with the exact same strategy. So, like I was saying, his Black Mage 1, who is hitting for an excessive amount of damage, got good RNG with his intelligence stat. So that is one of the stats that the Black Mages like to lean on, that improves their magic casting damage. He takes another spell. No good. Alright, so Lukey is heading into town to buy those silver armlets we talked about. He's got just enough gold to do that and equip them. And he is going to head out on his ship to Crescent Town. And Captain takes down Lich. Excellent. You like to see it take no deaths, but if it's just one, we'll take that. Lich can be a pain. Excellent. So Captain will warp out of here with a fully lit crystal. 1 fiend down, 3 to go. And Lukey is heading out of the western hemisphere, or however you want to call it, and sailing all the way west off the edge of the map. The world is round, and he is going to end up at this port where he is going to encounter a few more tough enemies, and he is going to be looking for a new ride. So some of the offerings of this town, they do offer the the Thundaga spell here in Crescent Lake. It is 13,000 gil for each spell, so he will spend 26,000 gil on those Thundaga spells for his mages, and then he will have just enough left over to buy some more items for his next little adventure into the Ice Cave. He is getting excellent encounters here. Those Ankegs have an immense amount of XP and gold, which will buy him a ton of potions, which is something he's going to need. So he stays at the inn, charges back up. Let's see if he buys his items first. All right, so when you buy your items first, you have to do as much quick math as possible to make sure you do not drain your gil amount under 26,000. Got to save that 26,000. Okay, so about 43 ethers. That is plenty for this next portion of the trip. And he's almost full on potions. That is something excellent for that trip into the Ice Cave. Captain of the Dorks, right behind him. Going to do the exact same thing you just saw Lukey do. And what Lukey's doing now is going to talk to a bunch of old men in a forest. One of them nice enough to give him his canoe. I guess he doesn't need it anymore. But that one mage in the circle of sages, gives him that canoe, and that canoe is something he can use to sail across these small bodies of water, the rivers and the lakes that he's used to. And he will find the entrance to a small creek that will lead him to the Ice Cave, just north of here. And the Ice Cave is that next big adventure. In the Ice Cave, he is going to be looking for a floater stone. And we'll see what he does with that floater stone later. Traditionally, in this game, the next step would be to go to the volcano to fight the Fire Fiend. However, it takes a long time to sail there by canoe, so in the speedruns, typically we take that battle at the very end because it's very quick to just fly there later. Now this canal, you'll see potentially a few autosaves or quick saves as they sail along it. Some of these enemies on the canal can be quite dangerous. Things like the Ochu there, you don't really care to fight, not entirely worth it. But if you find the Neochu or you find the White Croc, they are definitely worth it. However, they are dangerous. And it looks like Lukey is not going to get anything significant on this this canal trip. Nothing but a bunch of Ochus. So, and a preempt on a group of enemies he can take out with 2 Thundaga charges. Ideally, from this point on, the runners would like to see spells, or sorry, they want to see fights that they can take out with 1 spell charge. Not all enemies will do that for you, but again, being selective in your battles, it is nice to see the ones you can do quickly with 1 spell charge. So this Ice Cave, there are a number of different strategies to the Ice Cave. One of them is to skip pretty much every treasure. It does have a number of treasures that in most cases you have to go out of your way for. There is a significant amount of gold in some of these treasures, or some items that you can sell for a significant amount of gil. So we'll see if they deviate from the path to obtain any of those treasures. Otherwise, they will sprint through this cave to get the floater stone. Another one of the dangerous encounters you'll see here. Not incredibly dangerous, but can be dangerous if you get stuck in them, are the Ice Gygus and all of the Winter Wolves. They do cast AoE attacks, which can hurt your entire party. And to add insult to injury on that, the animations just take a really long time. So anytime you can reduce the length of animation casted by the enemy or by you is time saved in the long run. It may seem insignificant in each individual battle, but adding up over the length of a run, it can mean minutes. Captain getting through a couple of Ice Dragons. Ice Dragons is a high risk, high reward battle, as is all of these Pisco Demons. Goodness, you don't want to see all those. Remember, they hit very hard and they still hit very hard. This, I think, is a battle that you just kind of have to take, only because if you fail a run, all 7 of those guys get another swipe at you. Ooh, and Lukey gets an Ice Shield drop. That's good for 5,000 gil on a cell. And he drops through the floor to get one of the few forced encounters of the game. You know this one's coming. And it's a pack of 9 undead. So have your Firaga ready. And a quick battle. And then potentially a quick save before he moves on, only because this floor is large. Like we had spoke about before, the game will auto-save for you at every staircase. So if you die, you return to the staircase you came in on, or wherever you quick saved last. So what you want to do is do a quick save after that big battle, that forced encounter, because if you happen to get killed after that on this floor, you have to go back to the beginning, you have to refight that forced encounter, and you could lose minutes in that scenario. It doesn't look like Lukey picked up any of those extra treasures on his first pass through the ice cave. You do drop down a hole and traverse the ice cave one more time, where he'll have the opportunity to deviate from the path. Captain right behind him on that same floor that Lukey was just on, fighting that forced battle and chasing Lukey through the cave. Couple of quick pickups before he drops down the hole and has one more forced encounter for the floater stone with the Evil Eye. The Evil Eye is a quick fight. He looks dangerous. He looks unhappy. He looks mad. He's got funny teeth. Probably needs to see a dentist. But a Firaga takes him out. And the Levistone. Again, that was a translation issue from the NES. It was the floater stone. It is now the Levistone. So Lukey, now to get out of that room, drops down the hole again, this time from the inside circle, and is forced to encounter these undead once more. Quick Firaga to get rid of them, and Lukey is on his way out after a quick heal. Plenty of potions. Had great encounters prior to shopping. Right, Captain right on his tail as he's about to drop down and fight that Evil Eye. Like I said, those Winter Wolves have the capability to cast those AoE ice spells, which, again, just take up time. They hurt a little bit, but for the most part, they take up time. And Lukey employing the flee or fight strategy. We'll see what works. Looks like fight. All right, and Lukey gets out of the ice cave first at around an hour and 7 minutes, which is not a bad time. Continuing this time, probably, I mean, he still has the chance to get a sub 2 hour with that time still in play. So speaking of times for the games, most runners are aiming for somewhere you can consider it really good to get a sub 2 hour and 10 minute run. I mean, that's top 20 on the leaderboard to get yourself in that sub 2 hour 10 minute category. It's great if you can get yourself sub 2 hours. That's what many people grind to set a benchmark, essentially. I think that 2 hour time is certainly a benchmark for a great run. And that's top 12 on that leaderboard. It's over at speedrun.com. And then if you just want to be elite, you need to aim for that sub 150. There are only 3 people that have achieved a sub 1 hour and 50 mark, which is ridiculous. And the world record stands at 1 hour and 41 minutes. Absolutely incredible menuing, luck, speed, everything. When it all comes together, that's the kind of run that gets produced. But again, in a race, it is a no reset run. So oftentimes when runners are grinding for a really good time, they will just reset and jettison bad runs. That typically happens within the first 10 to 20 minutes of the game. Is when they know they want to jettison a run. So in a no reset run, you kind of have to roll with the punches. If you die to the wizards over and over again, it just happens, and you just kind of have to roll with it. So when folks get a PB in a race, it's excellent. And Lukey took that Levistone, took it to a random desert in the southern hemisphere, and out of nowhere, the airship appears thanks to the Levistone. And it comes down and lands on the sand for the very last time. The airship can only land on nice flat green grass. It cannot land in a forest. It cannot land on sand. It cannot land in the water. You would think a ship could land in water, but a ship cannot. And Lukey, again, we had talked about that potential strategy to pick up a haste spell early to save you 50 seconds. Lukey opted to hold on to that gold as a safety strat, and he is running back to Elfheim to pick up the haste spells for his mages. And he picks up 1. And after that, he is flying south because the world is round. And he is going to stop at the Dragon Isles. So I had mentioned a long time ago that there are a number of items that will refill your health to full. Typically we call those elixirs or X potions. There are a couple in this game that are absolutely worth getting because chaos is so random and hits so hard. You want a few of those in your inventory just in case. So if you're not lucky enough to get a couple of them dropped to you by those lesser tigers just outside of the Earth Cave, you can pick some of them up here in treasure boxes. Additionally, in these treasure boxes is a bit more gold. Again, gold is always good to have. There are always things to buy. So that first hole he just came out of contained the X potion. There is one more just west of here if he is looking to pick up an elixir. And he does. And then later in the game, there is one more elixir on the way that he can grab at the very end, and I'm sure we'll see him do it. Now, right on his tails, CaptoftheDorks is doing the exact same thing Lukey did. He is flying back to pick up haste. However, he picks up 2 hastes. He picks up 1 for each black mage. That is a safety strat just in case your black mage goes down in battle, the other one can cast the haste. The haste is very important for your tank, for the reason that it will enhance the number of hits that your character puts on an enemy, and significantly increases the damage just by increasing the number of hits. And if you don't have that, it's going to be very difficult to get through some of the fiends later in the game. And Captain opting to also pick up his full heal spells at this time and pick up a few of those extra gold treasures from the dragons. There is stuff to purchase later. There's always something to buy. So the next place that Lukey has just gone to is called the Waterfall Cavern. It is a very large floor, so you may see him quick save a couple of times here and there, just to make sure that if an accidental death occurs, he does not return to the beginning of this cave. That can cost you 3 minutes, probably at the worst, so it's something you definitely don't want to do. So why do they go to the waterfall? So here in the waterfall, there's a number of chests that they will get at the end of this. There's a cube that they get from a robot here in this cave. And there's also a very important item that they'll get called the ribbon. The ribbon is very important for all of your living characters that you will have at the end of the game. It makes you resistant to all elemental spells, also keeps you from getting status ailments, and help you from just dying altogether. So there are 3 ribbons in the game. There's one here. There will be one much later in the floating castle. And there is another in the sea shrine, so I'm sure we'll see them get all 3 of those as an essential item. As far as armor goes in this game, there are 4 armor slots per character, and they are specific to where they essentially equip them. So you have headgear, you have armor, essentially, and you have bracelets or body armor. And then you have an offhand shield slot. So again, the monk doesn't tend to carry much armor. He definitely carries no swords, but everybody will carry a ribbon on their head. If they have the money and they choose to do so, a pro ring is an option. That is an item with great resistance for your armor. And then also makes you resistant to instant death spells. So those are good to have as well. And then the body armor of choice for your mages and for your monks are bracelets. You saw Lukey and Captain pick up silver bracelets. Good for this portion of the game. Later there'll be a diamond bracelet that we'll see who they equip it on. That's another piece of strategy. And then, of course, all the other armor is ignored or sold because nobody's going to use it. They're either petrified or not in your party whatsoever. And still neck and neck. What a close battle. These guys are one behind the other, working to exit the waterfall cave. It can almost be a bit of a maze. Luckily, in the Pixel Remaster version of this game, they give you a mini-map, something the NES version did not have. So it does kind of help you with your spatial awareness and where you are in the cave. Helps you get through and know where you're at. So Lukey has exited the waterfall, and the next place he's going to head to is the caravan just west of here in a little hidden desert where you will likely never find it unless you know it's already there. The Caravan Salesman. You are going to purchase a random bottled fairy because he's got bottles of fairies and you need one. You'll find out why later. In addition to once he sells you that fairy, he offers you a number of specialty items not available anywhere else in this game for purchase. And those include some special tonics. So these are stat enhancement boosts that will be essential in the final battle of this game. They pick up a number of things called Giant's Tonics. Those provide a temporary HP boost to whoever drinks the tonic, and specifically three are purchased because 3 is the magic number that will get your tank up to 999 health. And then the speed tonics are just another way to increase your number of hits and therefore your amount of damage. So Lukey here now in the town of Gaia. The fairy is released from the bottle. It flies off to the north. And while he's doing that, Lukey decides to do a little shopping. He picks up some Blizzaga spells. And he picks up 3 Protect Rings. Excellent. And he's going to go ahead and equip those. Like I said, those are great items for your arm slot. And then again, the Blizzaga is a great spell for casting here on out. Depending on how safe they're going to play this strategy, this is typically the last place to stock up on items. But it looks like Lukey spent his money on Pro Rings and Blizzagas, so he is going to have to make one more stop to purchase items before the final dungeon. And it looks like Captain of the Dorks also picks up 3 Pro Rings. And let's see how much money he has left over for items and see if he's going to have to do the same thing. Ooh, he has 39,000 gil left. He is going to go ahead and max out on his high potions and his potions. Get a number of Phoenix Downs. Get some tents, get all kinds of things he needs. It does not look like he is going to stop again before the final dungeon. Alright, so once they finish their shopping, you can see Captain goes up to speak to the very thankful fairy released from the bottle, the very expensive bottle. And she goes deep into the lake to pull out some Oxyale for you, which you will see Lukey using right now to go down into the sea shrine. You need that to breathe underwater to get through the sea shrine. So now that Lukey has spoken to the flying, disappearing mermaid, another thing that's just not explained whatsoever in this game, she floats away, and then you take a barrel with a door on it underwater into the sea shrine. The sea shrine, similar to the waterfall, it has great encounters for gold and experience, but we are at the point in the game where gold no longer matters. We have purchased everything we need to purchase, with the exception of Lukey needing to buy some more items, but now there are no more goals for Gil. But there are still experience points that need to be earned, and this cave, this dungeon has a number of great enemies for experience, to include these water elementals. They provide a great amount of EXP, as well as some of the other encounters. So we'll see if he comes into any of the other high XP dealing Deep Eyes characters. Alright, Captain entering in, running into the sea shrine, and running to the east staircase. Lukey is now on the floor at the bottom of the east staircase, where it is a mermaid floor. There are no encounters on this floor, but there are a couple things he wants to grab, one being this Rosetta Stone, which is the key to learning a language very quickly. No, we are not sponsored, but the Rosetta Stone is going to teach him a new language. The other thing he grabbed in the first room when he just entered was the diamond armlet. That, again, is the best bracelet armor that can be worn, and it is a strategy whether or not you put that on your monk or if you put that on your black mage. So once you get off that mermaid floor unscathed, because there are no enemies, you return back to the main floor of this cave, and you head down the western staircase. And that is the one that will take you to a few more floors that have a couple of treasures that you absolutely want to grab. One of them being the Giant's Gloves. It is a item that, if you use it in battle, will cast Saber on the character that is selected, and that increases, similar to Temper, increases your damage. Something that you definitely want to buff your character with on the final few fiends. The other item of interest on that floor is the second of the 3 ribbons. So it's a definite desired pickup. So going back to strategy, it looks like Lukey is leaving that fighter dead. And due to that, his other characters have gained a significant amount of experience points that would have gone to the fighter. So as you can see, he's got that black mage. I think we had noted a while back that his black mage had great HP rolls, and if we're checking back in, that black mage has 362 HP. That is ridiculous. That really is ridiculous. And he's just now in the Sea Shrine. His other characters, let's see, his monk is at nearly 300. A few more levels on him would be comfortable. And then a few more levels on that first black mage will get him closer to 240, 250, which is a comfortable number. Over on Captain's side, his monks are over 300. Looking to get a few more levels on those guys. And his black mages as well. One of them's at 250, the other at 217. Very close. Would feel a little bit more comfortable with a couple of levels. Something they'll certainly get here, grinding a couple of enemies on their way to the Fiend of the Sea Shrine, which is Kraken. Kraken can be very annoying, or he can be very nice. He is the second of the 4 fiends that we're going to fight in this order. He has 1800 HP and a very simple skill set. 50% of the time he is going to swing and attack you with those 8 tentacles. And then the other 50% of the time he's just going to do an ink cast, which if you're blind, it doesn't really matter to the mages. They are going to be casting Thundaga until Kraken dies. Again, the magic number there is typically about 6. Because at this point, the damage rolls on a Thundaga should be around 300 or more. So 6 casts of Thundaga should knock Kraken out. Alright, so Lukey did take that adventure over to get the Giant's Glove. I think he is on his way or just finished getting the ribbon. Captain is getting the ribbon now. I think Lukey is just slightly ahead of him, so he is moving onward. Let's see, did Captain look a little lost there? Did he forget to go pick up the Giant's Glove? Yep, so usually you see people pick up the Giant's Glove first. In this case, Yeah, he'll get it. He'll get it anyways, one way or the other. That one does have a group of monsters to fight prior to getting it. Oh, so there's the strategy. Lukey waited to find some of those jerk birds here in the water cavern, or the sea shrine. Sorry. So he revived his fighter finally, just to instantly stone him with a jerk bird. A very interesting strategy, given that it doesn't matter what level your fighter is at the end of the game. He's petrified, and he's going to take as many hits as the fiends can deal. The only thing that may have slowed him down is finding those jerk birds here in the Sea Shrine. He did have to take a few extra battles running around looking for them, and then finally getting that petrification. So he did lose a little time there. However, the benefit to that strategy is his team is now at level 28? I mean, theoretically at level 28 you are pretty much, you can finish the game at level 28 in the speedrun. Anywhere between level 27 and maybe 31 at the high end if you have to, and you can be very comfortable towards the end of the game. So Lukey can be as selective in battle as he wants, or maybe he's going for the next threshold of guaranteed stat boosts. That is certainly a potential option as well. But with that grind for the jerk birds, Captain has taken the lead after trailing for a greater portion of the last hour and a half. Captain has snuck ahead, and he will likely be the first to get to Kraken. Very exciting. Alright, so Captain is here. He is going to buff up his mages with all their ethers and all their potions. He's going to give a quick save and jump into the Kraken fight. Again, 50% chance Kraken just swings and misses, or hopefully misses, aiming for those petrified characters. And then 50% chance he casts Ink. Let's see what he does. He swings and misses at a petrified monk, which allows Captain to get 2 casts of Thundaga out. Kraken tries again and comes up empty, swinging at a petrified monk. And then the third round, Kraken attempts an Ink, which to no avail, as we have ribbons on our living mages. And he goes down. That is a very, very nice Kraken. And just as Kraken goes down on the left, over on the right screen, LukeyPookieG jumps into this battle. And let's see how nice Kraken is. He takes a swing at the first character. Again, he is most likely to be swung at. An Ink cast, which does nothing, allowing Lukey to do 2 casts of Thundaga and a final Ink, which does more nothing. So both characters getting a very, very nice Kraken, which essentially did no damage to either one of them. So they will light that crystal. They will jump out using the warp behind the crystal and take their airship down to Melmond. So remember, they picked up that Rosetta Stone. They do not know how to use it, so they employ Dr. Yoon here in Melmond to decode it for them. So Captain this whole time did not have silver armlets for his monks. Very risky, but it seemed to pay off. Picked them up now, so now his mages will have a little bit of extra armor for the remainder of this run. Lukey, again, had to make some extra purchases because he spent too much in Gaia. But he is now, with all that money he picked up in the Sea Shrine, spending it on the last item shop he will see in the game. Okay, so Dr. Yoon has now translated the Rosetta Stone for Captain. Captain is going to take that newfound language to the northeast continent. And head to Lufenia. And in this town, there's not a whole lot to do in Lufenia. Captain is just getting there now. Prior to using the Rosetta Stone, it would just speak gibberish. But now that he is fluent in tongue, there is only one person he's going to talk to, and that person is going to hand over a chime, which is something he's going to need to get through the Mirage Tower to get to another fiend. And an NPC, of course, gets in the way of Captain. The Lufenish people tend to just get in your way. And luckily in this game, you can just push people out of your way. Push him, Captain. There you go. Push him real good. Okay, so now he has the chime, and he's heading back to his ship to fly just a few meters to the other side of the mountain range, where he can start his journey into the Mirage Tower, which will take him up to the Flying Fortress, where a third fiend awaits him, and that is Tiamat the first time. So some of the things that these runners are doing now, they're blazing through a lot of battles, again being somewhat selective, wanting to try and get as great a reward as possible for their efforts, while casting as few times as possible. Captain looking to get an encounter here. I'm guessing he wants to get an encounter here so he doesn't get an encounter over at the desert, and it resets his step count. And ooh, Lukey getting just slammed by the NPCs. Alright, Captain jumping on board, landing on the tiniest sliver of grass, because again, sand must mess up the rotors of the airship. Now, one of the things they're doing, they do have the full stock of items that they purchased, but they still have to manage those items. You do not want to run out before the end of this game. It has happened to the best of us, and we've gotten to the end of the game and had no means to heal ourselves, or have Phoenix Downs, or anything you might need. So there is still some item management. You definitely want to make sure you're using all of your spell charges before you choose to burn ethers. The other thing that they're going to do, or not do in this cave, is pick up items. There's not too much more they need to equip or to sell. Again, they don't need any more money, so they're going to be skipping most every treasure in this tower. Excuse me. They'll be selective, taking the battles they need, getting a preempt. It's going to go ahead and take those. Captain, of course, still needing to gain a couple of levels, where Lukey on his side can be as selective as he wants. He doesn't have to take any more battles. He's well leveled as it is. Chat is right. Whirlybirds hate sand. Another question in the chat about not playing the remastered version. It is not a setting that prevents the enemies from hitting stoned units. It is just the way the game was ported over. It is one of the, what you can call it, a quirk that anybody can take advantage of. It's not a glitch in any form or fashion. It's just that when your character is petrified, they can absorb hits and still be targeted at the rate that a active character would. And in addition to that, they also gain experience points. So once that was figured out by whomever figured it out, the speed running strategy changed significantly. Everybody started changing their strats around that capability. And Captain getting a very unlucky flare over on his side. Flare is a spell you never want to see, especially from a fiend. He nearly wiped there. Luckily, it was at the beginning of a floor, so it wouldn't have hurt too much. But given that this race is neck and neck, any little bit counts. So getting out of this battle with just one character and just 10 HP is still better than a death. Oh yeah, so Chad asked a question. Yes, the stone characters not only absorb hits infinitely, they also get experience. So one of the strategies that you're seeing employed right now over on Captain's side and on Lukey's side is they have their monk petrified. The monk is one of the strongest characters in the game, late game. They are weak early in the game, but they are an absolute tank as far as hitting goes towards the end. So the strategy is to leave them stoned and use as many spells as possible to get you through the game. And then just when you need him at the end, you can unpetrify him and use him to slaughter your fiends with a couple of buffs. So we'll see that employed once we get to Tiamat here at the top of this tower. Lukey picking up the final ribbon and Captain picking up the final ribbon. They are virtually tied. They are in the same spot. So Lukey just now leapfrogging Captain, and Captain now leapfrogging Lukey. And within 2 seconds, they have both jumped to the 3rd floor of the Flying Fortress. Now, one of the things that can happen here, and we haven't seen it since the hype race, is that there is a long pathway to get to Tiamat, and on that pathway there's a very slim chance that you run into Warmech. Warmech is one of the worst enemies, one of the strongest, toughest enemies in the game. You do not want to run into him. So you will see them after each encounter doing a quick save to make sure that in case they find him, it is not impactful. So let's see how they do. They both get an early encounter, so we'll see if they get 1, 2, or 3 encounters on this bridge. Captain runs from his 2nd encounter and gets all the way to Tiamat. So you saw that Captain had unpetrified his monk, and what we're going to see here is the black mages buff him early in the battle and then unleash the beast, and that monk is going to do a significant amount of damage. So the haste, the giant's gloves, which cast saber, and the temper, all to buff the monk to do as much damage as possible. And what we need is Tiamat to be nice. He hits very hard and casts some terrible spells. He's got 2,400 hit points. And like I said, he can attack almost 40% of the time. He has Ice Storm and Blaze and Poison Gas and Thunderbolt. All terrible spells that you're seeing right now, which has killed the Black Mage, but Captain has survived. As you can see, that mage was, or the monk was doing a significant amount of damage. Oh, Tiamat is a she. Okay. It's a big dragon. And it is now dead. So in the chat, I see we have another NES player. Yes, so the NES version of this game, there were a number of spells that just were broken. They didn't work, they didn't help, and so luckily they did fix a lot of that in this game, and the spells now work. And not only that, some of them are stackable. So haste is a binary spell. You're either hasted or you're not hasted. If you get slowed, you have to haste to get out of it. But then the saber spells and the temper spells can be casted and stacked and stacked and stacked, and that's what you're seeing here in this battle, are the black mages and the monks just stacking saber and temper until the monk can 2-shot or 3-shot a fiend. Alright, so once we get past this fiend, the third fiend, we have to go all the way back to the volcano, Gurgu Volcano, where we skipped a while back, but we are so OP at this point that we just run through it. There's no need to fight any of these enemies. They don't provide enough experience to help you, so all they're going to do is flee as fast as they can from every battle to get to Merilith at the end. Some of you NES folks know her as Carrie. Another interesting trick that you see in the volcano are those lava tiles, because literally the floor is lava, and it does what you think it does. It damages you every time you walk across a lava tile. But the benefit of the lava tile is that you cannot encounter an enemy on the lava. It will advance your step count towards the next encounter, so it can lengthen the time between encounters if you strategically run across the lava properly. But it is something that people work on significantly to try and master the diagonal movements across the lava. We see Lukey trying to do just that. But otherwise, they're just going to heal every so often to make up for the damage that they receive running across those lava tiles, and run and flee and run and flee, hopefully getting as many preempts as possible to expedite this process. And Captain of the Dorks getting stuck in a blaze cycle. These hellhounds have the capability to just cast the AoE over and over and over again, and again, those animations take a really long time, and if you just fail your run over and over and over again, it will go down. You have to spend the time curing them. It's just one time loss after the other, allowing Lukey to catch up. So Lukey is one floor away from Captain. Captain is just around the corner from Carrie. Merilith in this version. Merilith is, at this point, very easy to beat, although she does have a strong swing. If she does attack you, she does attack about 40% of the time. She can also cast Fyra, Hold, and Dark. Those last two spells not doing a whole lot, so you like to see them. And all you want her to do is not inflict damage through swinging those swords. She has so many of them. But we're going to go with the buff strats. Haste, a temper, a giant's glove in the first round, a couple more tempers, and the giant's glove again. So now we have buffs on top of buffs on top of buffs, and after 2 rounds of buffing, we're going to unleash that monk on Merilith. And to speed the process up, we're also going to have the black mages defend, which essentially skips their turn and goes faster. And a very quick battle with Merilith. Captain lights the 4th and final crystal, which allows him to proceed to the final Chaos Shrine. So to come full circle, the final Chaos Shrine is back where you started, in the Temple of Fiends, where they will warp themselves 2,000 years into the past to refight every fiend they just fought on their way to defeating Chaos. Captain taking a battle, likely to reset his encounter count. And he is going to jump into the Temple of Fiends and get warped 2,000 years into the past. And there's a specific path to take through this dungeon. There are sets of annoying enemies, and it looks like Captain is going to take some of these battles. His HPs look to be alright. His monk is over 350 at 368, and both of his mages are over 270. So as far as HP goes, Captain is set. Lukey, I think his team is set. His levels were through the roof based on the dead fighter strategy. So he should be set to be as selective as he would like to be. Captain coming up on the floor where he needs to break a stone slab. And for some reason, that hard rock is only defeated by more hard rock. So he pulls out the loot that you received from the princess after you saved her life 2 hours ago. At the very beginning of the game, so long, 2 hours ago. You pull that loot out, you play a tribute to the greatest and best song in the world, and that slab breaks open, allowing you to proceed through the shrine. And just to the right of that stone slab, you'll see a couple of treasures as Captain comes in. That is the last elixir. Definitely want to grab that in preparation for the final boss. As Captain now plays that loot. And proceeds into the next floor. So after these next two floors, where he will be running as quickly as possible, you will start the next fiend levels of the cave. Those fiend levels, each one is themed based on the fiend that lives on it. So there will be Earth Cave themed monsters on the Lich floor and fire themed monsters on the Merilith floor. Certainly not in the order we fought them, but that's where they live. And we will have to refight these fiends. And for some reason, 2,000 years in the past, they are stronger and angrier. The first one up is Lich 2. In this time period, he has 2,800 HP, has a 45% chance to attack, another 16% chance to use a terrible spell called Flare, a small chance to cast Kill or Stop or Warp, all things that do not affect your party because you have Pro Rings and Ribbons on. So really we're just looking out for that attack and the Flare spell. These guys are sitting at a fairly high HP. There's a monk with over 400 now, and now he's just showing off. So they should be able to withstand a Flare spell, but they certainly won't withstand two. And it's not out of the question that Lich casts two of them right in a row. We've all seen it happen, and that is the most unfortunate thing. So Captain making sure his HPs are up. I have no idea how, but Lukey's got a mage cresting near 400 HP, which is wild. And when I say the HP is excessive for that monk, remember we said those item buffs, the Giant's Tonics, temporarily boost your HP. They do it at 200 HP per potion, so 3 spells will boost your monk up to 999 health, the maximum you can. So anything over 399 HP is just showing off. And Captain now has jumped into his second Lich fight, and he uses Flare. Let's see how he does. He survives. Like I said, he has a large quantity of HP, so a single Flare is not going to wipe him, but now he is vulnerable to another spell. So hopefully Lich is nice and does not cast it again. Gives him a warp, which does nothing. Outstanding. And taking a break from buffing the monk, you can use those mages to cast a couple high potions, just in case Lich decides to cast that flare again. At least the monk can survive. Yes, yeah, so that's the nuke substitute for those in chat who are NES connoisseurs. And Lich 2 goes down just as Lukey jumps into the fight with Lich. So Captain gets a one-shot on Lich, which is great. He is one of the annoying ones that can wipe your party. Again, Lukey is in the same boat with an immense amount of HP. A single flare spell is not going to take out his entire party. It will do some damage, but it looks like he should be all right. He got the second hit off, and Lich is gone. Excellent, guys. We are neck and neck. Captain now jumping onto the fire floor, on his way to Merilith, taking a couple battles. We'll see if Lukey tries to skip a few battles to catch up, and opts to fight the red dragons. Okay. Oh, and run. The run or fight strat. I love it. Alright, that'll be the last encounter Captain gets before healing up and saving before carry. Merilith. And this Merilith has 3,200 HP. 40%-ish chance to attack. It's got Firaga, Stun, and Death. Stun and Death, of course, don't have much effect because they're equipped with ribbons and pro rings. The Firaga is not going to hurt too much because it's an elemental spell, and the ribbon keeps you from sustaining too much damage from elemental spells. And then you just look out for the attack. That's the worst Merilith can deal out. And we were talking about how Flare is a terrible spell. Flare is considered one of the non-elemental casts, so the ribbons don't really help with a flare. They also don't help with Cyclone or Tsunami, something that Chaos has the ability to use, and use often. Alright, so Merilith goes down for Captain. Nice and easy, using the buff, defend strat. Looks like Lukey is in the middle of that, and he had one Black Mage go down. Chat mentioning that the Fiends are in their prime 2,000 years ago. Yeah, I guess when you fought them the first time, they were just old and retired and just chilling out in caves, and you come busting in, just fighting them. They're just like, what are you doing here? Never looked at it that way. Again, we'll throw that in the category of the are we the baddies? You're stealing from blind people. There we go. A set of debuys for CaptoftheDorks. He does not need the experience, but there he goes. Fighting some of the highest XP enemies in the game. Nearly 9,500 experience for that battle. If you ever run into a set of debuys, make sure you take that fight. But again, these guys don't exactly need experience or gold or anything at this point. They just need to get through the Fiends as fast as possible without dying. Yeah, I think we're all looking at this game just a little bit differently as it unfolds in front of us. Maybe we're not the nice guys after all. These guys working through very similar battles, not that far apart, both on the same floor, absolutely neck and neck. This entire time they have been consistently within 1 minute of each other. Absolutely incredible. And Captain moving on to Kraken 2. He has 3,600 HP. And he is going to attack, cast Thundara, or cast Ink. So we want to avoid that attack. And the Thundara, we're protected with those ribbons. There's that attack. Absolutely decimates a mage trying to temper and buff his monk. But again, these things stack, which means you just spend one more round stacking up and then unleashing the monk. Kraken swings and misses at the petrified character, something you definitely want to see. And that buffed monk deals 2,700 worth of damage, knocking him out with a 2-shot kill. Lukey looking to do the same thing on his side. Let's see how lucky he gets. Again, a Thundara is resisted with the ribbon, so not too much there. And he's looking to haste and get this battle over with quickly. Captain has jumped over to the Tiamat floor to fight Tiamat 2. It is a very short floor. There is a small excursion if you ever wanted to go off and find the Masamune. It is on that floor, well down a path that is unnecessary for these guys, as the Fists of Fury are all that the monk needs. So Tiamat 2 has 5,500 HP and can cast a bevy of spells and attacks. An Ice Storm, Blaze, and Poison Gas, and Scourge, which doesn't really do anything, but he can cast a number of dangerous spells and has a large amount of HP. So, same strategy goes. We're going to buff and kill. Looks like Lukey got a pretty good battle exit with Kraken, and it looks like nobody has, well, I'm not going to go ahead and jinx it, but the Fiends are being very nice to all of these runners. I understand having the Masamune so deep into this cave. It is a super OP sword, but you do have the opportunity to pick up an Excalibur far earlier in the game if you choose to do so. And Tiamat takes down a Black Mage, but Captain survives it. And he moves on to what we affectionately call the casino, Chaos. So Chaos can do a significant amount of damage. He has so many different spells he can do that will decimate your party. He can cast Haste on himself. He can cast Curaja on himself. He can do all these things to really mess up the way that you're trying to buff yourself, and you have to buff a lot. He has 20,000 HP, a significant increase from the NES version. So you have to get 20,000 HP reduced as quickly as you can while he is bombarding your characters. The strategy changes just ever so slightly, where you're going to cast those giant tonics first and a full X potion or elixir onto your monk to try and get him to 999 HP, and then buff, and see if you can swing to hit him for 3,000 to 5,000 per swing, and just survive long enough to do it. So Captain on his first attempt, usually a Chaos battle can take 2, 3, 4 attempts. First swing, So you see Chaos has taken out the monk, so Captain's strategy is to reset right away. If that monk goes down, there's not a whole lot of hope you have, so your best bet is to reset, and that's what he did. He has quick saved right outside of Chaos, and now Lukey is just slightly ahead going into his first battle with Chaos, Captain going into his second battle with Chaos. It is absolutely neck and neck. So, same strategy on Lukey's side. He is going to tonic and get that haste off. He has one mage with haste, so he wants to make sure that haste gets off before the mage potentially dies. And then tonic to get the monk up to a respectable health level, and cast an elixir on him. Tsunami comes in, which is a non-elemental pain spell, but he still has his mages alive. Same on Captain's side. We've gotten through the tonics. We're going to give him that X potion, get him hasted, and they're in a race to buff now. Here we go. Who's going to be the first to start attacking? Captain has both mages alive, so he can buff just a little bit faster. But the Tsunami takes down both of his mages, just as Chaos takes down both of the mages on Lukey's side. Both monks have 999 health. And Captain goes down. Oh, you hate to see that. Not a lot you can do there. So let's keep it over on Lukey's side. Lukey has started to attack. He's doing about 4,300 of damage. Wants to make sure that he keeps his HP up, just in case Chaos decides to swing and hit him. He decides to swing and hit Petrified character. Lukey needs about, there it goes. I was going to say one more swing, and he does it. GG to Lukey, getting it done. At the very end, coming in and taking out Chaos as captain. Continues to battle.
Here I am, John. Hello.
Oop. Lukey, is that you?
That's me. Hello.
Oh, GG's, my friend. This was an exciting race.
Thank you. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, if you had any idea, if you were listening, you knew that it was close.
I did not listen at all.
So you guys, the entirety of this race, were within 1 minute of each other. For the first,
man.
I'd say, hour and a half, you were just barely ahead. When you were searching for jerk birds in the Sea Shrine is when Captain just barely went ahead of you, and you guys were neck and neck the entirety of the rest of this game.
That's crazy. I'm honestly, this is 8 minutes faster than my personal best. So like
that is, I was gonna say you finished with an incredible time. 2:01:56 is an incredible time, and I believe that is your PB. I mean, this is gonna go up on the record.
Let's go on a list. I was aiming so much for that sub 2.
So tell me your strategy. Oh, and Captain just now finishes. Got some unluck on Chaos. Something that happens to the best of us. We'll invite him in here in just a second. You hate to see a loss at 2:03, but tell me a little bit more about the choice to go with the dead fighter for the duration of the game.
Yeah, it's actually an idea. Welcome, Captain. It's actually an idea that I had kept me awake at night, and I even pitched to Captain when he was streaming once, and we talked about it, of killing the fighter in Marsh Cave and then leaving them dead until Sea Shrine, when you can force the jerk birds on that Giant's Glove chest, and then just basically running from the end of the game because you're already leveled up enough.
And it looked like a genius move, all the way up into the point where you were searching for the jerk birds. And as you were searching for these jerk birds is the moment that Captain passed you. I mean, you guys were neck and neck, and he passed you by a handful of seconds. You know, you can watch it back. You guys were right there, and it looked like it was going to potentially be the move that sunk you. To be honest, you had incredible HP. Your levels were through the roof. Your HP rolls, I think your Black Mage had nearly 400 HP.
Yeah, I got really lucky with that. Everybody kept hitting that other Black Mage, so it was weird. He was just like a magnet for attacks, but not for HP rolls. It was crazy.
As they always do. They always hit the weakest guy, no matter where you put them. Percentages, out the window.
Great race, Captain. GG.
GG, man. Congrats on your 201. I know you've been searching for it for a while. At least something this low, but it's really cool to see, and I'm glad I was able to race against you when you got it.
Yeah, so GG, Captain. I don't know if you were listening. You guys were literally within a minute of each other for the duration of the run. It wasn't until the Sea Shrine that you just barely passed Lukey. He took the strategy of leaving a fighter dead for the duration of the run, and then reviving and petrifying him with some jerk birds in the Sea Shrine. And while he was searching for those jerk birds is when you took the lead. You guys showed up at Chaos right neck and neck again. You guys both had great luck on the Fiends throughout the Temple of Fiends. Captain, you got there first. You had your first battle. Lukey got there just after you. And then it was just whoever got luckiest on Chaos.
As it should be, John. I'm glad it came down to Chaos in the end.
Yeah, so it's not anything you guys could have done. it was nothing you could have done. You spent 2 hours doing a whole lot of things, and then Chaos went ahead and picked the winner.
Love to see it.
No, it was exciting. It was fun to see the slight differences in strategies and how they played out, and how you guys kept it very close. No, it was a really good run to watch. And then again, Lukey, GG's on the PB. That was outstanding.
Thank you.
So with that, we'll go ahead and look for any closing statements. Lukey, you got anything to say before we log out?
Well, I would like to ask Captain, how did the double monks go for you this time? Did it work out the way we were looking for?
No, so I mean, when we were testing that out the other night, so another variation Lukey and I were talking about was the double monk idea of taking 2 monks, and then that gives you double the RNG to pick which monk you want, just in case one decides to just low roll the entire game. Worked out for both my monks, which was fun to see. But early game, it was just, smack factory. You don't have that warrior to tank up damage. So it was a little unfortunate.
Yeah, I was going to say that affected you most when I think you were fighting the Pisca demons in the marsh cave.
Yeah, Piscos were really rough. Yeah, I think that's the majority of where my time went, was in that first starting area. Pretty much until cockatrices, which I'm glad I got pretty much immediately on the 3rd floor. It was nice to see him there, but yeah, it was. Whew.
I'll say, Cap, honor to race you. Thanks so much. Thanks for having fun. Always a great thinker, and I love talking to you about this race. Glad you were my last race. Sorry I had to beat you, but I mean, I had to beat you.
In a game for fun, I'm glad you won with a PB. So it's always nice.
Definitely fun to watch. Captain, any final comments, questions?
No, just for chat. We have a Discord. I want to grab a link here. I'll pop in there, but if you're looking to get information on Final Fantasy 1, there's that, and speedrun.com has also a trove of information, and please join us, because this is a fun run to run. And thank you, John, for commenting. It was really great to have someone here, and I can't wait to listen back on all of your take on the race.
No, I appreciate you guys putting on a great race. Yeah, I'll second that. Everybody in the chat, if you're interested in playing, check out the Discord. It's a very friendly Discord. Everybody's willing to help, comment, share, and get you to the sub 2 mark, which Lukey is on the cusp of now.
So close.
It's going to happen soon. All right, with that, I appreciate everybody tuning in. I appreciate the runners, and we will see you on the next race. Have a good night, guys.
Bye-bye.